You're listening to the Symphony No. 3, also known as Eroica, by Ludwig van Beethoven. Many consider the Third Symphony as marking the end of the classical era and the beginning of musical romanticism. It is also one of many works Beethoven composed after he began going deaf.
C minor, the first chord of one of Beethoven's important works.
Beethoven's struggle, love, and music are brought to life through the musical play by Arizona Theater Company entitled Beethoven as I Knew Him.
This work, in 3 emotional movements, was titled Sonate Pathetique by the composer himself. The concept was to give the public and the audience a context for the music that we know, the great music that we know, the context, the individual, and also the time in which this music was composed.
Beethoven as I Knew Him is written by Hershey Felder, who also plays both Beethoven and his last surviving friend, Gerhard.
The perspective of Beethoven is from that of a little boy who is now much older, and this little boy was Beethoven's best friend's son. His name is Gerhard von Breuning, and he used to visit Beethoven on a daily basis. He was completely fascinated with him, and Beethoven was his hero. Beethoven taught him some piano lessons. I love the story. It's almost a little bit like a buddy flick, you know, because you've got this little boy who's absolutely crazy about this great artist, this hero, and it's how their friendship develops, and it's very dear, but it's true, and that's what I love about it.
I kept on looking his way to see his response, but there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I play louder, and then louder, then even louder than that. But he was not at all disturbed. And that moment for me was perhaps the most heartbreaking of all. He really couldn't hear anything. I'd always known this in my mind, but it was much more painful to feel in my heart.
Ludwig van Beethoven, child prodigy, was born in 1770 in Germany and later moved to Vienna. As his reputation grew, his hearing faded.
He started going deaf. He started recognizing it at the age of 26, which is staggering. By the time he was 31, it was an illness that he thought would never be cured. By the time he was 40 and 45, he was completely deaf. How is it possible that this man was completely deaf when these great works were composed? And I wanted to deal with that in some way in the piece, but on a very honest, simple level. I didn't want to turn it into a big drama, which it isn't. I wanted to show that this was a man who actually lived with this problem and how painful that must have been.
Beethoven's music expresses his innermost feelings.
That's the one thing about Beethoven that's really miraculous, is that we can see ourselves in his music. We listen to it and we understand a certain sense about ourselves, you know. If we listen to the Fifth Symphony, there is a sense of, yes, fate knocks, and the whole concept of, you know, being fate knocking at our door. You play a very simple and straightforward theme. It's just Beethoven's heart and his love and everything. He's speaking. It's so beautiful. It is about the push and pull between good and evil. Acceptance and resignation. Anger and fury.
Felder hopes to convey the emotional plight of the artist in this play.
That Beethoven didn't just do it because he wanted attention. He had no choice. This is the storytelling. This is what he had to do. This was his craft. And this is what we all do. It's what we do as we talk to each other, as we tell stories. And that we have to do that because that's what makes us human. It's what makes us individuals. Sometimes the price of storytelling, in the case of Beethoven, he was deaf, was so expensive. But he didn't stop. He said in his Heiligenstadt Testament, in his last will and testament, he talks about his hearing, and then he says, "It is because of this that I have seriously considered taking my own life. But each time I decided on the end, the need for my art returns, and this is the only thing that keeps me alive."